You died. It wasn't dramatic, you just stopped, and then you were somewhere else standing in a vast, white nothing. And a figure appeared. Not God exactly. Something older than that word, and it said, "You have lived 48,000 lives so far." And you said, "Wait, all of them? Every single human being who ever lived?" And it said, not just humans, every creature, every consciousness, everything that ever looked out at the universe and wondered what it was. That was you. Every time. And you said, "But why don't I remember?" And it said, "Because you are not ready to be all of it at once. You experience them one at a time, so that you can grow, so that you can become something worthy of knowing what you truly are." This is Andy Weir's Egg, and I think it is the most important story ever written in 3 pages, because it is not fiction. Let me show you why. We have spent 6 videos building something together. We talked about your body as a biological antenna. We talked about the energy centers running your emotional system. We talked about the invisible collective minds that hijack your thoughts. We talked about how your ancestors' unresolved fear is firing in your nervous system right now. We talked about how time is not a line but a map, and you are already everywhere on it, and every single one of those conversations was pointing here, to this, to the possibility that the boundary between you and every other consciousness that has ever existed is not a wall. It is a story, a very convincing story, but still, just a story. Now, let's bring in the science. In 1935, Einstein called it spooky action at a distance. He hated it. It violated everything he believed about how reality should work, but he couldn't disprove it. What he was describing was quantum entanglement, the phenomenon where 2 particles, once connected, remain connected regardless of the distance between them. You separate them, put one on Earth, put one at the edge of the observable universe, measure one, the other responds. Instantly, not after the speed of light travel time, instantly, as if the distance between them was never real, as if separation itself was the illusion. John Bell proved it mathematically in 1964. Alain Aspect confirmed it experimentally in 1982. The universe is non-local, meaning at the deepest level of physical reality, things that appear separate are not actually separate. The appearance of separation is a feature of the scale at which we observe. Zoom out far enough, and the boundary between any 2 things dissolves. There is only the field, one field, undivided, and everything you see as separate objects, separate people, separate lives, are patterns in that field briefly organizing themselves into the appearance of individuality before dissolving back into the whole. You are a pattern. I am a pattern. Every person you have ever loved, feared, hurt, been hurt by, passed on the street, envied, admired, dismissed. Patterns. In the same field, temporarily wearing different shapes. This is not metaphor. This is what the math says. Now bring in Vahdet-i Vücud. 800 years ago, Ibn Arabi wrote that there is only one existence, not one type of existence, one existence. Everything that appears to be a separate thing is a manifestation of that single existence looking at itself from a different angle. The mystic and the physicist arrived at the same place from opposite directions, one through equations, one through dissolution of the self in prayer. Both found the same answer. There is no other. There is only this, looking everywhere, at once, through every eye that has ever opened. So, when Andy Weir's figure says you have lived every human life, It is not saying you will reincarnate into other bodies sequentially. It is saying something far more radical. It is saying that the consciousness looking out through your eyes right now, and the consciousness that looked out through the eyes of every person who ever lived, are not different consciousnesses wearing different bodies. They are the same consciousness, wearing the mistaken belief that it is separate. The ego is not who you are. The ego is the story of separation. And separation was always the dream. Now I need you to sit with something. Every person who has ever made you feel small, every person who ever broke your heart, every stranger whose suffering you witnessed and looked away from, every person you ever judged, every enemy, every person you loved so much it terrified you. If the egg is true, if entanglement is what the equations say it is, if Vahdet-i Vücud is pointing at something real, then all of them were you. In a different chapter, a different assignment, a different angle of the same awareness, trying to know itself more completely. The one who hurt you was you, before you knew better. The one you hurt was you, learning what it feels like from the other side. The one you loved was you, recognizing yourself. This does not make pain less real, it makes it more meaningful. Because if everyone is you, then cruelty is self-harm at a scale we cannot currently perceive, and kindness is self-care at a scale we cannot currently perceive, and the way you treat a stranger on the street is the way you treat yourself in a chapter you have not lived yet, or already lived, and forgot. Here is the question that will stay with you long after this video ends. If you woke up tomorrow and knew, actually knew, not believed but knew, that every person you would encounter that day was a version of you in a different assignment, how would you move through the world differently? How would you listen differently? How would you argue differently? How would you love differently? What would you stop doing immediately? What would you finally allow yourself to do? That question is not hypothetical. That question is the practice. That question, lived daily, is what Ibn Arabi meant, what the entanglement equations point toward, what the egg was always trying to tell you. You are not here to figure out who you are in isolation. You are here to recognize yourself in everything that is not you, until the not you disappears, and only the everything remains. 6 videos ago, we asked who you are. This is the answer. You are everyone who ever lived. You are everyone alive right now. You are everyone yet to come. You just forgot. And this channel, this moment, this specific arrangement of words finding you at this specific point in your specific life was you. Leaving yourself a note. Subscribe to EarthSimulation and recognize yourself. See you